It's one last lesson.
Good morning and welcome to KTZed Redemption, where it's always morning even in the afternoon. I am your host, Jay Edgar, and for whatever reason, my screen is pulling from the wrong window. So I am joined not by a YouTube channel over here, but the wonderful KTZed. So let me fix a couple of settings here and get that fixed, because I have no idea why that's going from that one. It says right screen, but it's pulling from the left screen. What's going on here?
Well,
we can still hear
everybody.
you. I was going to say we
can
still
see me. How are y'all doing tonight?
Let's get this fixed here. What am I on now?
Technical difficulties makes the show more fun.
There we go. Now you're all set. There we go. Now we've got KTZed over here.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you.
I didn't notice that when we were getting started either. I'm looking over like, why am I looking at Darth Maul over here? But yeah, we're off to a great start here today. How was your week? How was your weekend?
It was wonderful. I had a great week, great weekend. This is my last week at my job, so I'm excited about that. My last day is Wednesday, and then I have a 4-day weekend before my new job starts, so I'm looking forward to it. I had a wonderful Easter, spent time with my family, which I always enjoy.
I didn't spend time with my family. I was supposed to, but I got all the way to the campground and found out that my mom and dad weren't there, so I drove back.
They ditched you, huh?
Apparently. I don't know, because they said they were going to be there through today, but apparently they weren't, so, well, it happens. We're here now, so.
Yeah.
But I got out of that, because I have not left pretty much the house for a week. I've just had the headphones in. I've been listening to real estate lessons, getting ready to go take the test, but yeah, I've been inside of these four walls for a week, and while it was more enjoyable than it was when I had the coof, it's still, you're climbing the walls after a little while for sure, so.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if you've seen...
What is happening?
I don't know.
Sorry.
I can hear myself, though.
I was hitting buttons. It's my bad.
I was going to say, you haven't seen my place, so I've seen your place, though, and I can tell you from experience that you have a lot more walls to climb than I do.
I do have many walls, many rooms in this house. It seems like a small house from the outside, and then you get inside, it's like a labyrinth in here.
Well, we have got a lot to get to today, and we actually have to stay to task on this one today, because this is going to be a big one. This one's going to be, I think, probably one of the densest episodes that we have, but I am going to try to stay with the time frame that I promised you at the start, 2 hours. But we've got to stay on task if we're going to do that today, definitely for sure. The Twitter saga has continued throughout the week here, with Elon Musk coming out with an offer to buy the website outright and the poison pill to try to prevent him from buying the site outright, plus reactions because, well, nobody likes the fact that Elon Musk wants to go out and buy Twitter.
Yeah, that's true.
We've had some gun violence coming up this past week, and we're going to be talking about 3 major stories. Well, technically 5 major stories, but we're going to be grouping 3 of them together because they all happen pretty much on the same day. But 3 major stories of this year, including what happened in Brooklyn near Sunset Park and what happened in Grand Rapids, Michigan, that most of the news isn't talking about. Plus 3 that happened, 2 in South Carolina and 1 in Pennsylvania just over this past weekend. So we'll go over just a little bit of that. The inflation report is out for the month. We are at 8.5% inflation, and there's a lot of things that they're going to keep trying to do about this. Plus, the media has rushed to get the Putin inflation to the front of the story, and a man actually got arrested violently for putting "I did that" stickers on gas pumps.
That was a crazy video.
It was hilarious. The immigrant buses have arrived in D.C. There's been like 3 or 4 of them that have got to D.C. from Texas now, so we'll talk a bit about that. Plus, the extra security that Abbott is going to put on incoming trucks coming from Mexico, and some of the reactions to that. And we're going to be talking a bit about Title 42, because we talked a bit about that last week, and there have been some reactions to that. And we're in 2022, so it's midterm time, so we're going to be talking. The ghost gun rule came out. That's going to be aimed for the midterms. A little bit of your neck of the woods. Stacey Abrams got bad judgment passed down on her this week, so we'll talk just a bit about what's going on there. Odd story out of Iowa about a candidate who may be discluded from the ballot, even though she might be the greatest chance to beat Chuck Grassley. And Dianne Feinstein is in the hot seat right now because her mental capacity is going south very quickly.
Yes.
So we'll be talking about that. Plus, I got a couple surprise stupidity for you. I promised you one. One has been covered on Contemporary, and I got smart with the other one, and it came out of the Real Off Hours Discord server. Shout out to those guys, because they're awesome. But, yeah, we didn't cover this one at all on Contemporary, and I saved it just so I could really surprise you with it.
I've only seen a couple of Contemporaries since we spoke last, so I may have missed both of them. We'll see.
You might have. It's they're both going to be good, so we'll be talking about this and more over on KTZed Redemption. Thanks for checking us out live over on YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, which I don't know where they transmit it to on Twitter still, but it assures me that we're transmitting over there, so definitely we'll go in and check that out. If you can't catch us live, you can catch us back on demand over on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute.com. You can check us on all those platforms, and a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff that we did over the past week here, but we will be returning to the audio platforms. We've got some new podcast art, so we'll be changing the name in the listing. We'll be changing the podcast art to reflect the new show. I don't think that this time, just with everything that I have to do, I don't think Contemporary is going to get up there, because that is a lot of work to get Contemporary up every day. But we can definitely put this up on the audio platforms coming up here. So you can check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. And if you have a preferred podcast platform that I did not mention, let me know and I'll apply for it. And we'll go to that too. Podbean actually has a lot of avenues that we can run to. So anywhere that you want to find us and take us on the go, find us and take us on the go. It'll be another place to reach out to us, to talk to us, to listen to us on the go, and take us wherever, in the car, on the jog, wherever you want to go. We'll be right there. So definitely go and check that out. That's going to be a great time. And the dogs are barking.
For once, it's not mine.
For once, no. It came into my ears, but it was from outside the headphones. It was outside. Did my microphone catch that? Did you hear that?
I heard it, yeah.
That means everybody else heard it too, because it's all coming out of the same place. Mm-hmm. Let's get into it, because we have got a lot. And
I would just like to point out how much of an angel my dog is being right now. It might not last, but I mean, not barking at all.
I don't have a dog to bark, so I don't have control over whichever one was barking over there. But we'll be working on that. You got a BB gun, right? I've got a little bit more on a BB gun. Oh, hey, my news feed is on the wrong screen too. Holy shit, what the hell's going on? This is supposed to be left screen. Why is this not left screen? I don't know why everything got jumbled. That kind of pisses me off a little bit. So we need to have display 2. No, you're display 2. We need to have display 3. There we go. But that one didn't make it on the screen this time. All right.
How many displays you got over there?
3. Left screen, right screen, center screen.
Very fancy.
Very fancy indeed. All right, let's get into the news of the day. We're going to start with this one since it's the Easter season. A source familiar tells me that this was Megan Hayes, a special assistant to the president and director of message planning, is one of the 2 bunnies. But Biden was quickly interrupted by the Easter bunny after he started to comment on Afghanistan and Pakistan at the White House Easter egg roll.
Well, somebody's got to get him in place, right?
Oh, the Easter Bunny, Mr. President.
Pakistan should not, and Afghanistan should be people's.
They do not want him talking to the press without a handler.
Not at all. Yeah.
Especially, again, if it is who they say it is, if it's one of the special assistants to the president that's in the suit, it's like...
The only thing that would have made that better is if that Easter Bunny would have tackled him when he started to say Afghanistan. Just full body tackle.
How does Steven do that? When it's like, no!
Yeah. Yeah. No.
But there's good reason for this here. Reading from the Daily Wire, Biden has hit the lowest approval ratings of his presidency in 2 more polls. And we did look at this over here. Now, on the aggregate, he has still not hit the lowest rating on his presidency. The aggregate still has him just slightly over 40% approval off of this, but we had a 35 and a 37 were the latest 2 polls that came in for him for approval.
I can't believe it's even that high, honestly.
It's hard to gauge off this because I know that they cherry pick. Do keep that in mind.
Of course they do, and they only poll like 1,000 people, if that.
Well, that's the standard practice for polling.
It's crazy to extrapolate that 1,000 people over the whole country, and they're only calling people with landlines. Give me a break.
I don't know how they are doing that with landlines, by the way. To be completely honest, I know I pay more attention to the A, the RV, and the LV notator on that, and that was actually. In my mind, I threw one of the polls that they're talking about in this Daily Wire article out because it was adults. It was just 897 adults. Like, okay, is it an illegal immigrant? Is it somebody who can't vote? Is it a felon?
It could be all 18-year-olds. You don't know.
But the other side of that is the second poll that they were mentioning is an RV poll, which is registered voters, and that was 1,028 registered voters. So...
I mean, I've never taken a poll, so I don't know.
We'll see what happens with that, and that's where we go with that. Looking at Insider, McConnell, on the other side of the aisle, McConnell says the GOP may screw up the midterms if it lets unacceptable candidates get fielded in critical Senate races. And man, I can think of one unacceptable candidate to be mentioned in this. Any ideas?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a list of unacceptable candidates, but I do just want to point out that every time we talk about McConnell, my brain immediately goes to our friend McConnell and not Mitch McConnell. And it takes a second for it to switch to like, oh, politics McConnell, not our friend McConnell.
Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said on Tuesday that it was still possible that Republican Party might lose the midterms if it were to field a slate of unacceptable candidates in key races. Speaking at an event hosted by the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce on Tuesday, McConnell said the GOP's chances of wresting back control in the Senate were good, barring wildcard candidates that could mess up the party's chances. He goes on to say the 94 elections were the best year the Republicans had seen, and he thought the atmosphere moving into this year's midterms is better than it was in 94, but he goes on and says, from an atmospheric point of view, it's a perfect storm of problems for the Democrats because it's an entirely Democratic government. Which leads you to ask the questions, how could you screw this up? Well, banning abortion 4 months before the election might do it.
Absolutely. There's a lot of ways to screw it up, Mitch. So, although I am very much for banning abortion, but that's not going to win them any elections, to be honest. You know.
No, that it is not. In fact, you are going to drive people out there. They'll go to the polls in red robes and white hats if you do that.
It's so sad that that's the state of things. Can you believe that's the state of the world we're living in right now? People will disrupt their life so they can kill babies. It's insane.
I try not to think about that. Are you getting any noise off my microphone, by the way?
No, not outside noise, no.
Okay, because I'm looking at it right now. I'm just kind of watching the sound monitor, and it looks like there might be a constant buzz off of that, and I'm not sure what the case is with that.
I think it sounds fine, but if you guys in the chat, if you hear something weird, let us know.
Yeah, so I can go back and fix it. Let me just
We're always watching.
check a connection.
Behave
here.
yourselves over there. I'm always watching.
All right. If we're gonna keep on that, I might actually throw a monitor on here in just a sec while we're doing live chat here. But let's keep going off of this. Looking in, USPS suspends services to Santa Monica neighborhood, citing attacks on carriers. Reading from
Christ.
KTLA 75, the U.S. Postal Service is temporarily suspending services in Santa Monica neighborhood after multiple attacks on its mail carriers, the agency said on Monday. There have been 3 incidences in the 1300 block of 14th Street in Santa Monica involving 3 separate letter carriers, but always the same guy.
Holy cannoli. Can I just say, I mean, it's not going to dox me now, but when I work for the company that I work for this week, that's ending this week, I had to travel to LA a lot, and we stayed in Santa Monica a lot. And I'm thinking, oh, they wouldn't put us in a bad neighborhood or anything. I would just stroll around by myself in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. Like, just walk down to the beach or whatever. Like, maybe I shouldn't have been doing that. I think I was very lucky.
It does look like I am getting a little bit of a buzz off that microphone. They can hear it in the chat. So I might have to go back and fix something here while we're doing live chat in between topics.
Yeah.
So bear with me for just a moment. Well, let's get through some of this here first. It looks like the incident, which was reported on January 19th, involved a resident who assaulted a USPS mail carrier with a broomstick, according to Santa Monica Police. Lieutenant Erica Aklufi, the victim sustained a minor injury to his arm and did not require medical attention.
Well, when you said broomstick, I was afraid you were going to say it an injury to something other than his arm. So at least that's something.
Pray for KTZed.
I watch a lot of true crime. Stuff happens with broomsticks sometimes. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, how do you get to a point where you're going, and this is supposed to be California where everything is super, super safe and, Democrat policies work. How do you get to a point where it's, we can't even send a mail carrier into there?
I've spent a lot of time in California, and I'll tell you exactly what's happening, is that they're letting people move into tents on their streets and not kicking them out. I guarantee that this is what's happening with this. The person who's attacking this mail carrier, I'm sure, is living in a tent on the beach right up by the Santa Monica Pier. They're everywhere, and the people just allow it to happen. And the office I work at, and when I'm in LA, is on Wilshire and San Vicente. And there's a guy who's lived there for the last 3 years in a tent. Every time I'm there, it's the same guy in the same tent. He's got solar panels on top of it. I hear him in there watching TV. It's crazy. They just let him live there. I'm pretty sure he's stealing our internet, and that's why he hasn't moved.
The ADL is back at it again. The ADL has brought us another hate symbol out of this. This time it is the number of 83 is an hate symbol listed on ADL because 83 is a white supremacist numeric symbol that stands for Heil Christ or Hail Christ.
How is that white supremacist? Jesus Christ is the savior of all, not just white people. It's insane.
I don't know.
Am I on the ADL list yet? I'm waiting. Any day now.
You could probably claim any double-digit number starting with 8 is problematic, says Bill Old. 81, Hail Adolf. 82, Hail Benito. 84, Hail Dassenkampf. 85, Hail Eichmann or Eistandsgruppen. You get the idea.
Wow. So just, everything's racist.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing that's
absolutely.
not. They can make anything racist. The most random stuff.
Did you see that there is an SUV flat tire challenge going around?
I did see that. Yes.
Reading from
I have warranties on my tires, so do your worst.
Reddit comes out, and we're actually going to read right from Reddit here. Time to do something about SUVs. They're the second largest contributor of global CO2 emissions since 2010, more than aviation. This is a gentle escalation of methods to drive the urgency of this climate crisis home and engender a systemic aversion to SUVs. So here's what we do. wedge gravel into the tire valves, leaflet the SUV to let them know the tires are flat, and why it was done, and walk away. I'm telling you right now, people have died for less.
Oh yeah. Try that. I mean, just try that on my car if I'm anywhere near it.
People have been killed for less, and that would be defensive.
Oh yeah, your
And
destruction of prop yeah, absolutely. I don't know what you're gonna do to me next. I'm a woman all by myself. We're
it's
attacking
that
you,
simple.
sir.
If we organize, we can hit enough SUVs in particular neighborhoods to spark reporting and spread the meta meme. We do this neighborhood at a time to make the biggest splash, organize a crew off of any traceable apps, and make leaflets that lay out the case for climate action. The mission is not to win individual converts at this point, but to engender a systemic aversion to SUVs. Climate change is the biggest crisis we've faced as a species, and we are failing the test at every step. It is time for us to carefully escalate our methods in a nonviolent manner and convey the seriousness of this crisis in tangible ways.
Do you think that they're smart enough to understand that driving with flattened tires is way worse for the environment and uses way more gas than having the proper amount of air in their tires?
I think the point is to disable the vehicle to make it so it can't drive at all.
Do you think that's like we're gonna have to take the car? Like what? It doesn't make any sense. They're just tires. Like
Well, you would go and get it towed, obviously. So that just
yeah, I would
they're not
just
trying to destroy your property, trying to make it unusable for a day or two. It looks like.
that's not going to stop me. That's not going to stop anybody, especially the first time it happens. I have a thing in my car that plugs into the cigarette lighter that will fill my tires for me right then and there. It's not going to stop. It'll delay me for 10 minutes, maybe. You know?
Well, that's what they get from that. This one. And I might go and check that microphone real quick while we're watching this one here. But Saudi Arabian media made a video mocking Biden as senile. Hair is played by a man in drag.
This is pretty funny. Just because it's from Saudi Arabia.
Yes,
not
our great
inherently
ally
funny.
here. So, and this is better than anything that SNL's putting out at this point.
I said that. Okay, so Mr. Zen and I were watching this in the living room the other day when it, like the first or second day it came out, and that's the exact same thing I said. I said I'd rather watch this than SNL for sure.
Well, let's listen.
Hit the wrong button. We are not, because that's how I see what you're playing is on Twitch. We're not. I think you need to figure this out. I don't know how I'm going to help you, but I will if I can. We know. We know. We know. Oh, so we're still live? Okay. We're only live on YouTube, Dave says. Let me refresh. Oh, if we're live, then I just doxed my husband, didn't I? Oopsie. I think probably everybody knows his name already anyway. All right.
Yeah, we're back up here.
I didn't do it that time. Wasn't my fault.
Well, the good news is that I also fixed the connection of whatever it was that was causing the microphone buzz. But I guess when I did, I hit the Ethernet cord on the back of my computer and knocked us out for a moment. So, yep, that was all on me. But hopefully we don't get the
We're
little
back.
bubbles anymore. But yes, we are back. Let's hope that we can get our audience back and ready to go again. But yeah, let's go. All
Let's
right,
do this.
let's get back into it.
This has been an exciting show, Ed.
Yes, it has. All right, let's watch that video again just because it was funny and we lost everything on it.
Okay.
All right, well, now that that little bit of excitement is over, and now we've seen that again. Yes, this was from Saudi Arabian television, which is, our greatest ally, remember. It's the democracy
Yeah,
in the Middle
absolutely.
East.
Yeah.
So
At least
that's,
they have a sense of humor.
absolutely.
I love it when people say that the world was laughing at us when we had Donald Trump, but I didn't see any of this back then. It may have been out there and I just didn't see it, but I didn't see any of this. They're actually laughing at us now.
Yeah. We had to throw some F's in the chat here because Gilbert Gottfried, unfortunately, has passed away this week. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse because we don't have to hear that voice anymore, but
Oh, we'll still hear it.
from NBC, Gilbert Gottfried, iconic comedian, dies at 67 after a long illness. Comedian Gottfried has died, his family said. He was 67. We are heartbroken to announce the passing of our beloved Gilbert Gottfried after a long illness, his family wrote in a statement shared to his Twitter account. Gottfried died at 2:35 p.m. Eastern Time Tuesday from a recurrent ventricular tachycardia due to a myotonic dystrophy type 2, said Glenn Schwartz, his longtime friend and publicist. Gottfried, who had performed stand-up for 50 years, became known as the comedian's comedian because his live performances put aside political correctness while he delivers jokes that know no boundaries, his representatives said in a statement.
Very true. I do like that he was the first one to make 9/11 jokes after 9/11. That's one thing I'll always remember him for.
That dude did not care. He put them right out there and he said, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say it right now, and whether you like it or not.
It is never too soon.
So, it's lame. We lost most of our audience in the blink. We're down to 5 viewers instead of the 9 that we were at before.
They'll find their way back, I'm sure.
I hope so. Maybe during the live chat segment, we'll put some live tweets out there and get everybody back. But that's what we go off there. Yeah. And I mean, you look at Gottfried, though. I mean, you look at some of the stuff he was like. This guy was a voice actor's guy, especially. That was his big thing, was voice acting. Like, you got Iago. He did a lot of, like, the roast. He would go in as various characters on stuff. Like, Dennis Leary's Sheepdog was my favorite one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's funny.
Are we frozen, or is that just my computer?
I am seeing us live right now. Let me go look. Yeah, we're still live over here. All the technical difficulties. I'm not sure.
Okay, both of my screens just went black. You can keep talking, though. I can still hear you.
Okay, good, because, I'm a little confused right now. Yeah, I'm a little bit close with myotonic dystrophy. I've known a person who has passed from that, and another person who has had to live with that as well. So, both of them were very close to me, unfortunately.
I do want to say your pronunciation of that disease, whatever it was very impressive.
I've heard
you
it
just
a lot
read
in my
that
life.
like it was nothing.
Yeah, I've heard it a lot in my life. So, but yeah, this is, and again, we're not going to ever hear a new Gilbert Gottfried joke, unfortunately. So,
my screens are black. Oh my god. Okay, sorry.
Well, we'll figure it out as we go. But while we're doing that, I'll read something that's sure to enrage you here. People push back after Jill Filippova claims that men with stay-at-home wives are more sexist than men with working wives. And I actually have the tweet thread up here so we can look at it. Filippova tweets out on April 12th, "No, it's not feminist policy or good for women to pay mothers to stay at home. Pay people for care work sounds good. The problem with paying people to stay home with kids, though, is that, one, we're overwhelmingly not talking about people, we're talking about mothers. And two, pushing women out of the work comes with overwhelmingly negative consequences." Going on, the career/earner nuclear family model we think of as traditional is a historic anomaly that's tremendously isolating and often financially devastating for the carer, almost always a woman. It also reinforces the gender division of labor, which ripples out to all women. Filipovic goes on and says, we need a robust social welfare state. No one should be living in poverty, not adults, and certainly not children. You don't solve that problem, though, by paying mothers a small stipend. You solve it by giving poor people enough money to live, period. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. I'm not going to finish out the tweet thread, but I wanted to get these last two here. More mothers at home makes for worse, more sexist men who see women as mommies and helpmeets. Men with stay-at-home wives are more sexist than men with working wives. They don't assess women's workplace contributions fairly, and they're less likely to hire and promote women. And the last one, stay-at-home mothers are psychologically and emotionally worse off than working mothers by just about every measure. From depression to anxiety to anger, they are much more likely than working mothers to say that they are struggling and less likely to say that they are thriving. I'm sure you have a lot to say about this. Or maybe not, because now you are frozen. And it's not on my end. Oh, we lost Katie, you guys. Give that a second. But, I mean, looking into that for me, it's a situation where I look at this and I do have to wonder where all this came from. Oh, Katie's computer died. Restarting. Okay. So we lost Katie for just a little bit here, so we'll stick in with that. And, just to look at this and talk with this, actually, you know what? I'm going to move on because I want to save that for when Katie gets here. So we'll go back to that in just a second. Joint statement between the U.S., Belize, Germany, Indonesia, and Senegal on the announcement of the second global COVID-19 summit. The U.S. is as first COVID summit chair, Belize as CARICOM chair, Germany holding the G7 presidency, Indonesia holding the G20 presidency, and Senegal as African Union chair. Pleased to announce we will co-host the second global COVID-19 summit, which will be held virtually on May 12th, 2022. The summit will redouble our collective efforts to end the acute phase of the Pinko-Pox pandemic and prepare for future health threats. So, actually, I'm going to check live chat here while I'm waiting for this to come back. I don't know if it's just the battery run out or what happened with that. Looking into this, KTZed is in the chat and saying, hello, friends. Randy says, what up, party people? Mr. Zed says, don't do drugs, kids. Hand them over to your parents or a responsible adult to get rid of them. Hand them over to me. I will get rid of them for you. I'll get rid of all your drugs for you. I'll make sure that nobody ever sees them again. Highleaf is here. Howdy, guys. How are we doing today? Welcome, Highleaf. Randy says, running on the ghost gun legislation would be a death sentence. Our Volt is lurking. I hope he's lurking again. Who would have thought after days of ghost gun shootings there'd be some anti-ghost gun legislation brought forward? There was no ghost gun shootings, though. That was the thing. Mr. Zed says they need to worry about ghost voters, ghost immigrants, ghost politicians. Banning is here. Happy Monday. Ghost government, says our Volt. Mr. Zed said, I was told I'm not allowed to talk to you, Quest. Well, we better pray for Quest, so. There's Katie. Have we shaken out all the technical issues at this point?
I hope so. All right. I just was in a panic for like the last, I don't know how long I've been gone, but just total panic over here. It was crazy. I'm back now. Let me get everything pulled up. Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Apparently, you turn off your computer every now and again. Otherwise, it does updates on its own.
So, did you hear any of what the Filipovic thing was?
Was that with the stay-at-home moms and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where moms should be, is at home with the kids. So if the husbands are more sexist, the husband should be more sexist. Not being sexist enough is ruining this nation. That's my opinion on that.
Randy says, I thought for sure we'd see Mr. Zev running out of the room as the camera turned back on.
This close. It was this close.
Nope, just the dog. There's the dog coming in here. So, that's not the only sentiment out there that's out there for this. This is a common thing that goes on in these circles, especially over on leftward circles.
They want women to be men. Women are not men. Women have a different role than men.
But they swim the same, right?
No. Holy shit. Hold
They don't swim the
Okay.
same. They don't play sports the same.
No, they don't. They have different muscle mass. They have different jobs. They have different lots in life, and they need to just stick to their roles to make the world a better place. It's all crashing down around us, and they wonder why. It's because women are trying to be men and men are trying to be women. That's an issue. It's Sodom and Gomorrah up in here. We need to cut it out. We need to get back to the way it should be, and things will smooth itself out.
The government is getting involved in another COVID summit here. This time, going in, they're going to come together with Belize, Germany, Indonesia, and Senegal on the announcement of a second global COVID summit. And the goal of the summit is to get more of the unvaccinated vaccinated, to get a 100% vaccination rate among the world.
I used to like Belize too. I've been there on vacation a few times, but why are they getting involved in this BS? They
Well,
have beautiful beaches.
funny you should ask, because Belize is the CARICOM chair is the reason that they're involved in this.
Tell me what CARICOM is.
I have no idea. I'd have to go and look that up.
Okay. I thought you knew everything, Ed.
No, I didn't look that up when I looked it up. I can look quick.
Oh, that's okay. I was just asking because I didn't know. And usually when I don't know something, you do know it.
It is the Caribbean community.
That makes sense.
So this the summit was actually supposed to go on before the invasion of the Ukraine over in Russia, or I'm sorry, over in the Ukraine from Russia rather. This was supposed to happen before that, but they delayed it obviously because of this. And I don't know if this is actually going to be effective anymore because remember, effectively, Russia cured the COVID when they invaded Ukraine.
Of course they did. But midterms are coming up, so they got to bring COVID back. Just in the nick of time.
We'll see what happens with that. Let's keep going here because we are way behind the clock at this point because we've had two major technical issues in the
my
midst
God.
of things.
What is happening?
Ilhan Omar got slammed over a tweet about Christians singing on a plane. Shut up and stop being a bigot, she says. Ilhan tweets out with this video, which it is what it is. Says, I think my family and I should have a prayer session next time I'm on a plane. How do you think it will end?
With buildings being brought to the ground. That's what I think.
So, a couple things with this. A lot of people are saying this was an old video because there wasn't a mask in sight. I actually do see a mask at the freeze frame here, so I think this is more current, and a lot of people are trying to come off this. This was probably a private chartered flight. But, yeah, if I think Ilhan is trying... I think what she's trying to get to with this is she's trying to say what would happen if we said Allahu Akbar on a plane, which I think that was...
I mean, shit blows up when that happens, right? In my
Usually.
experience, every video I've seen.
So that's what we see coming off of that. But yeah, she got
I have to
rightly...
say, if I'm as Christian as the next person, I'm Catholic, but I might be annoyed if this was my airplane and I was trying to take a nap or watch videos or whatever. I might be a little annoyed.
Yeah, and again, I think this was private and chartered because one mask throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
The Florida Department of Education made the news this weekend because they have rejected 42 math books because they claim that there is critical race theory involved in them. Reading from the New York Post, the Florida Department of Education has rejected a slew of math textbooks, say they attempt to indoctrinate students through the inclusion of critical race theory and other prohibited subjects, officials said on Friday. The agency junked 41% of publisher submissions for a range of reasons, including references to CRT and adherence to federal Common Core standards, which I don't know if you have tried to do Common Core, but it is fucking
insane.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. It's insane.
I mean, I was so advanced in math when I was growing up that they ran out of math classes for me in high school.
Okay,
And
well,
when
you
my
don't need
ex-
to brag about it. I'm blonde over here.
When my ex-fiance was going through math classes for her, and that was just general math for her social work degree, she was having trouble with the math classes in this, and me, who ran out of math classes in 11th grade, looked at that and said, dude, what? And her engineer father was having the same problem.
I've looked at it. I can't figure it out, but I couldn't figure out the regular math either. So, you know.
Yeah, I don't understand any of this, but a lot of people were pushing back on this, saying that the math classes should just teach math, and I think that is an entire thing, and a lot of people were questioning what was in the books that made them rejected. I'm not
sure
seeing any reports of what's in
problems.
there.
It's got to be the word problems. Instead of saying like Johnny has 2 apples, it's saying Johnny has 2 husbands, and whatever. That's got to be what's happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought that maybe it was just because they had a lot of reference in there trying to make sure that everybody knew that there was no correlation between the numbers 13 and 51, but
Probably. I mean, I could see that seems like a legitimate reason to ban a math book and a podcast for that reason.
some bad news coming off of the top here. The FDA is investigating Lucky Charms after customers complained of illness after eating it, which, to be completely honest, I don't understand why you're supposed to feel good after eating Lucky Charms, but apparently you are.
I guess not if you only eat the marshmallows, right?
Maybe it has to do with it. Doesn't say just the marshmallows in the article, but I know that I can go to the grocery store across the street and get a bin of just the marshmallows, but they're not General Mills, so.
Oh.
But I'll still eat them by the fistful.
It's good shit. Dang it.
And I wonder why my pants are so tight right now. CNN Plus launched this week, and it struggled to lure in viewers. It's drawing fewer than 10,000 daily users over on CNN Plus.
That's insane. They spend a lot of money on that platform. I know YouTube channels that get more than that per day. That's insane.
Yeah, Styx gets like 4 times that much per video.
Yeah.
Per video.
I mean,
and he does 4 of them a day.
They built a whole platform. A whole, like, CNN and, like, they weren't getting the views on regular CNN. Did they think that, oh, well, people want to have an app instead of just watching it? No, nobody wants your shit. Nobody wants your crappy project or product.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny to me to see because it's a victory lap for me, obviously, because I could see this channel growing to more than that, just and not spending the kind of money that they spent on this app. But like realistically, what are you going to get off of the CNN Plus app that I don't read on Contemporary just about every fucking day?
Well, here's the thing: is it's not a white pill for me, because what this is pointing out to me is that CNN is too center. So this means that the leftists are watching MSNBC and the people on the right are watching Fox News, which leaves no home for CNN. But the fact that it's so divided now that CNN isn't attractive to anybody is kind of scary.
That could be. But I do think that a big part of this too is, I mean, CNN Plus is paid just like every other Plus app.
True.
If I'm going to pay for something, I want to watch Baby Yoda, not CNN.
I don't want to watch. I don't know. Disney's
Actually,
just really
I was going to say I shouldn't say
lately.
that either because my sister pays for the Disney, not me.
Yeah.
So I don't have to pay to watch Baby Yoda.
Our Easter dinner consisted of everybody swapping passwords for whatever apps they have.
Nice. Update from last week. Got a couple updates from last week. This one here from the AP. Oklahoma governor has signed the bill, which I've got to correct myself from last week because I thought this was already signed at this point, but no, it was just in bill status. It is now a law. Oklahoma governor has signed the bill to make abortion illegal.
Praise the Lord.
KTZed signed a bill into law on Tuesday that makes it a felony to perform an abortion, punishable by up to 10 years in prison, as part of an aggressive push in Republican-led states across the country to scale back abortion rights. The bill, which takes effect 90 days after the legislature adjourns next month, makes an exception for only an abortion performed to save the life of the mother. So, not even rape and incest abortions.
No, they need to loosen up their adoption rules now and make it so it's not an arm and a leg to adopt a child. Because if you're not making exceptions for rape and incest, then people are going to need to adopt those kids because some women are not going to be able to raise those particular children the way they should be raised.
Well, I've been spreading my hateful message around the internet, my hateful message of compromise. You've heard my hateful message of compromise, haven't you?
Probably, but remind me for
Oh,
the
well,
audience.
you want to talk about the rape and incest? Okay. Well, here's the thing. For rape and incest, we exempt those, and for every other abortion of convenience, it is mandatory life in prison for the provider and the seeker.
I mean, that seems reasonable.
If you
Let's
want
do
to come
that.
out, if you want to come out and talk about rape and incest, fine, we'll exempt those. But the penalties get stiffer for everybody else.
Yeah. I would even, not even life in prison, I would even go to like 50 years. 50 years. Because then at that point, they're not going to be able to kill any more children.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. How about this one here from the California Target? Video shows frustrated Target shopper stepping in to stop thief, rip the bin from his hand, stop that shit, man, get a fucking job.
Yeah.
Did you see this one here?
I did not.
Well, let's watch what happens this is, I believe, where did they say this was? San Francisco, in a San Francisco Target. What the Okay, I'm getting just about sick of the Blaze right now because this is the second time they've given me a full page ad.
This is just par for the course for tonight's show, actually.
Yeah, they did this morning.
Fits
too,
right
so.
in. Fits right in with today's show.
Stop that shit, man. Get a fucking job. Stop! Hey!
That's crazy. They can't do nothing.
He could do something. He might lose his job, but he could do something.
I don't think that was an employee.
I think it was an employee. He had a walk.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a dude.
I think it was the loss prevention guy.
Let's look at no,
What?
I don't want to.
Mr.
Jesus
Zed,
fucking Christ.
did you watch that video? Was that the loss prevention guy at Target?
I don't know. I want to just look at that video one more time real quick and see if I can see, because yeah, usually they wear red shirts. That's the thing. That's the reason I didn't think it
Loss
was.
prevention does not. They're in street clothes.
Okay. So that is, I guess that's different then. I didn't think into that. I thought that was just a dude.
It may be. It may be. I just that's what I got out of it. And the reason I got that is because he never touched the guy. He only touched the merchandise, which is what loss prevention has to do. If it was just a dude, I could see him knocking that guy out or tackling him or actually touching the dude. That's the only reason I think that. I worked at Walmart for a very long time. I was an assistant store manager at Walmart at one time in my life, so I've dealt with this sort of stuff a lot.
Let's see. All right. Another update from something we covered before. Remember the woman that decided that she wanted to miss the vein on the guy that laughed at her pronoun pin?
Yeah, is she in jail yet?
No, actually, Wake Forest is backing her now. Outrage as North Carolina medical school backs woke medical student who tweeted about deliberately injuring patient for mocking her pronoun pin. So no, they've come back and they've taken her side.
You have got to be shitting me.
A North Carolina medical school has backed a woke student who tweeted about injuring a patient for mocking her pronoun badge that says she, her. Wake Forest University released a statement including groveling commentary from Quichel del Rosario, which suggests she will be back on the rounds soon. The trainee sparked outrage last month after she implied she had deliberately injured a man who mocked her by missing his vein during a blood draw.
Crazy. That's just insane. I mean, it's insane. What she did was insane, but the school's reaction is even more crazy to me. Could you imagine having any sort of, like, if that's the way you're training people, how are your students going to get jobs? Like if I had a degree from Wake Forest right now, I'd be just hanging my head in shame. Nobody would want to hire me.
I don't want to go to the hospital ever again after something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like they okayed this. They gave him whatever the fuck. Their blessing. Like, yes, you're allowed to do that.
And it's just they're coming out and saying this was clearly an accident. That's not what she tweeted.
No, it clearly was not an accident. If it was an accident, the tweet would have read, I accidentally had to stick this guy twice and I wasn't sorry about it because, he said something about my pins or whatever. Not I did it on purpose, which is what she wrote. She said she did it on purpose. I don't know what this person identifies as or what. I don't remember. I know it was one of those where you weren't too sure.
I'm pretty sure because that's her on the screen right there.
Well, yeah, but isn't she transgendered?
I don't think so.
Oh,
I think it was just she had the she/her as a courtesy because she was quoting somebody who did the same thing, a cis woman who had the she/her on her pinned as a courtesy.
oh wow. Okay. What is happening in this country right now?
Couldn't tell you.
No
All right.
wonder the countries in the Middle East are making fun of us.
I have one more here, and then we will get into the main topics here, and hopefully we can still stay somewhat on time because of all of our technical difficulties on both of our sides tonight. But a man under a car got run over because he was trying to steal the catalytic converter, according to Sacramento police. But they say the driver didn't hit the man intentionally. A man
Supposedly.
a man trying to steal a car's catalytic converter was run over by the car, the Sacramento Police Department said. Police responded to the 8100 block of Timberlake Drive near Methodist Hospital after a reported collision between a vehicle and a pedestrian around 4:45 a.m. on Monday. Police said the man was taken to the hospital with serious injuries before being pronounced dead. So, and they didn't specify what kind of car it was, but the average on catalytic converters right now is like $250 per converter. So, for $250, this dude lost his life.
Um, do you have to be under the car to get to it? Was he
Oh,
just
yeah.
like hanging out under the car? I just had to have one of my catalytic converters replaced,
Hmm.
and it was more than $250. Oh, I guess that was for the labor and everything too.
And the new one. Taking them
yeah, and
taking
the
the
new-
old ones
yeah.
in for, or even a new one in for scrap is $250 a converter.
Oh, gotcha.
But the new one is
I was
like
going to say it was
$1,000.
way more than that. Yeah, it was. um, like, are they sure he didn't do it on purpose? Because if I saw somebody under my car trying to steal car parts,
I
I
didn't see
might
it.
accidentally run them over too.
I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
I,
I'm thinking it may have just been one of those accidents, and in quotes accidents.
I didn't see anything. All right. Well, now that we're off to a wonderful start here, let's check in with some of the live chat here, see what these guys are doing, so we don't have to catch up with a lot of it. And let's go talk about Twitter. Let's catch up where I was coming up from here.
Mine only goes back to where my computer crashed.
That's fine. Let's get back over here. This is where we're at here. Arvold says just because they're registered voters doesn't mean they aren't illegal immigrants. That's fair. Randy says back in 2016 they found 200,000 wrongfully registered illegal immigrants registered to vote in California. No, in California that would be rightfully registered to vote. They also added that they have no reason to believe that any of them voted based off not looking into whether any of them voted. That sounds fair, right?
Sounds about right for California.
Randy says, I fell onto a broomstick once and had to go to the hospital.
Pray for Randy.
Let's see. Mr. Zed says, how many times did you slip and kept falling on the stick?
I'm not addressing this.
Randy says, it would be perfect if they're actually slashing the tires, because the replacement of tires would cause much more CO2. Just get a huge diesel truck to tow it.
Yeah, right? That's
No,
much better.
That dude in the Saudi Arabia video was a man in drag.
That's what I thought.
Mr. Zed said he thought she was Big Mike's cousin.
Fact check true.
And then I went to go adjust my microphone cable and bumped the Ethernet cable, so we had stream down. And then your computer died, restarting.
Yep.
Randy says, I thought for sure we'd see Mr. Zed running out of the room as the camera turned back on. Spartan says, nuclear family's not enough to have a healthy country. You need entire clans that support each other. MK Ultra, they swim the same. Mr. Zed says, I was in there when we realized the computer was tired of getting neglected and to self-update. And he also says, they may not swim the same, but they do drown the same.
I mean, how else are you going to find out if they're witches, right?
What else floats? A duck! I just watched that movie a couple weeks ago. I love that movie. It's hilarious.
I have no idea what movie that is. I apparently watch way less movies than you.
Which is surprising because I've only seen 5 movies in my life. No, that was Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, I saw that, but like in 1983, so I don't remember every line.
Wow, I wasn't even born yet in 1983.
I know, I'm old. It probably wasn't 1983. I was just exaggerating.
Randy corrected me and said, it's not Baby Yoda, it's Grogu. MK Ultra is disapproving of my bin of marshmallows, and they're dehydrated marshmallows too. So
they're delicious. I don't care what MK Ultra says. They're delicious. You can put them in hot chocolate. They're wonderful. I've had them. They're good.
We're going to be out of here. Too late for me to go over and get some more, but just for that, I would almost go and get some more tonight. Spartan is here with some words that we probably can't read because we're co-streaming to YouTube. Randy says, get you a sweet Target job like this guy.
Yeah. Now I want to see what Spartan said.
Skeeter is here and questioning our talk about the title card, which was me making fun of the leftoids, about the free speech thing. No, we're not for censorship, but that's what we're going to be talking about. One of our main topics is Elon's free speech thing. So, and how it's fascist, according to the people that are detractors of his.
Well, and there's a difference between government censorship and, like, if I want to mute somebody in this chat right now, I'll mute the hell out of them. But this is our show.
And I have no control over that, so.
You gave me the wrench, man.
Just so you know, if you do get muted in the chat, and you write me a DM or a message on Twitter or something and give me an explanation as to why.
Send it to me. It's KTZed ma'am on Twitter. Just DM me. DMs are open. Let me know about it. We'll talk about it. I can tell you about the 19th Amendment. It'll be great.
Life to the Max is here. Says Katie's worked to hell and back. Spartan says tranny doctor is going to fix your hormone levels. Mr. Zed said, I'm about to go pop a hole in a 50-cent euro to make a ring. This particular one is Citadel Vaticano. The hole will be right through the Pope's face.
Pray for Mr. Zed. I don't think you're supposed to pop holes in the Pope's face.
And then MK says, Katie has the power. Mute. Dang, about to start changing my tune.
Yeah, let me log on to DLive real quick. I can ban your ass too.
I don't know. Did I give you the power on DLive yet? If not, I can fix that yet today.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're going to be the co-host of the show, you should have power on all the platforms.
I'm usually on Twitch just because we get a lot of spurgs there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of other mods on the other, like YouTube and stuff. People got it under control over there.
All right. Well, we got to talk about this Elon Musk thing because the saga continues. It's like Star Wars. They just keep making another movie about it over and over again. And the further they go along, the shittier it gets. But Elon Musk this week decided after last week we discussed the fact that he decided not to join the board and had the opportunity to come back and now go buy into as much as he wanted to. Elon actually made a full-out offer for Twitter. Elon is now getting ready to go back up, and the offer is up there for $54.20 per share, which, I mean, it's not lost on anybody the fact that there's a 420 in the number, but that is approximately that's approximately a 38% jump in the stock price as of the close when he offered it for everybody, which means that everybody who has Twitter stock is going to get fucking rich off of this.
They turned it down. If I was a shareholder in Twitter stock, I'd be so pissed right now. I'd be so pissed. Just an automatic 20% gain overnight. I need to look into some of my mutual funds. I might be a Twitter stockholder and don't know it. It's just ridiculous. They didn't even ask their shareholders. They just made an executive freaking decision. Nope, we're not taking it for political reasons. This whole story pisses me off, just in general.
Well, I want to correct the record on some of what you just said there, because the offer is actually under consideration. They didn't just jump on it right away, which I think they should have for that kind of price, but for obvious reasons, for political reasons, they didn't. But they have not outright denied the offer yet. They're saying, no, we're not going to do it this way, but they are doing the, quote, poison pill to try to prevent him from going on a hostile without going and negotiating the price at all. And they are going out and begging other investors right now to try to get that price kicked up a little bit.
Yeah, that's another thing, is that other company, Vanguard or whatever, if I had stocks or anything in Vanguard right now, I'd move that shit so fast. Like, playing around with people's money, it's just insane to me.
Well, there's been major insanity over this thing, too. And just the way people look at Twitter, which I contend was a failing social media platform before Trump came down the escalator. Like, it was circling the drain.
It was. That's for sure.
Because you could go on Facebook, and Facebook had fan pages, and you could do the exact same thing and stalk all your same favorite celebrities, except without at the time, 140 character limit.
Yeah, you could write whole paragraphs.
You could write whole songs to the underage star that you obsessed over and then go make a shot at the president. John Hinckley. That's John Hinckley resident for Reagan.
Yeah, but that was you lost me because he wasn't, he is out of jail now. You're right.
He is out of jail now. You are correct.
We watched his YouTube videos. They were so
Yes.
cringe. I remember. Sorry, it takes me a minute sometimes.
But, I mean, you get the sentiment that I was going with off of that.
Yeah. Yep.
But now people look at this as this is some sort of bastion of, well, not free speech, obviously. They want to be able to control the speech that's going on with it.
Having been banned from Twitter at least once, I'd say it is not a bastion of free speech.
Well, it's a bastion of free speech that they like.
I really hope that this all works out for Elon, that he buys Twitter, whatever, and he just has a jubilee and unbans everyone. And I know Donald Trump says he doesn't want to come back, but I really hope he comes back because that was good entertainment.
No, I don't want to come back. I definitely don't want to come back. I want you to go to Truth Social, okay? Pick up Truth Social, get in the waiting list.
Stop trying to make Truth Social happen. It's not going to happen.
It's like Fetch.
Yeah.
But there were definitely some reactions to go off of this. Some people were saying that this, like Elon's Twitter takeover, could result in World War III. A lot of people are saying that he's a Marvel villain.
Yeah, he is. Deal with it. It's entertaining. This is entertainment, people. This is what we're here for.
One of the ones that got to me was Jeff Jarvis tweeted out, "Today on Twitter feels like the last evening in a Berlin nightclub on the twilight of Weimar, Germany," which I'm telling you right now, if your entire life is determined on who owns Twitter, go outside and touch some grass.
Yeah, it's insane. Like every time I post something a little bit, maybe up to the line, never over the line, Twitter gods, never over the line, but up to the line, I have to say out loud to myself, Twitter's not real life. If I get banned again, it's fine. I even say it out loud to some of my friends in chat sometimes. I'll be like, look what I posted. Thank goodness Twitter's not real life.
Like I said, I don't care who owns Twitter, but I am loving this entertainment because there are so many people out here who are just melting down over who owns. Like it's their entire life. To them, it is real life.
Because they don't have any friends outside of Twitter. And they've probably not met any of their Twitter friends in real life, like a conversation we had yesterday, I think it was.
Well, yeah, because I met a lot of my
On
Twitter
Twitter.
friends in real life at your house.
That's true. True story. It was lots of fun. We all got COVID, but nobody died, so it's all right.
We got a meme here on deck from our very own Arvold, memeing out for
Is
us
he
today,
here?
saying he was here earlier before the crash, before the meltdown.
We lost him.
We might have lost him. The soy jack up here. Are you just going to buy Twitter and then allow people to say whatever they want? And Chad Elon, yes.
Yes, your terms are acceptable.
I wanted to see what, before we talk about some of the other reactions off of this and some of the SNL stuff, which I might have to go reload that video because I had it queued up at the point that we needed to pick it up from, but now that everything's disconnected, it reloaded. So, but I had this one here from MSNBC where they might have said the quiet part out loud. This is Joe and Mika on Morning Joe talking about what could happen if Elon Musk buys Twitter. Let's listen.
Who were Trump voters and are still Trump supporters. They go, yeah, you guys are going crazy. He's doing, what are you so surprised about? He's doing exactly what he said he's going to do.
Well, and I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts. And it could be that while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the...
It could be that while...
That's our job.
I don't know if she realized that she said that. Let's listen to that one more time.
And the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think. And that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the issue.
Holy shit, she said the quiet part out loud.
I don't know if she caught that either, if she realized that, but...
Later she did. I'm sure somebody pointed that out to her. They had to have, right?
I bet you her phone was blowing up the whole time.
Yeah. In this moment, she does not realize it. Like you could, she's got no clue what she just said, which I completely understand. I do that a lot. But I'm sure she has to realize it by now. Like, seriously.
Oh, easily. Absolutely easily. And I don't know, maybe they brought her in to MSNBC, the headquarters, and said, hey, Mika, we got to talk about what you just said here, because...
No, their audience is too stupid to have caught that. Their audience doesn't even care. Their audience doesn't give a shit. It's just our audience who gives a shit about stuff like that. But we've already known that. This is not a surprise. This is not a big secret. Everyone who doesn't want to know about it or has that mental block up didn't even hear it. And everybody who knew about it already knew about it.
Well, let's listen to Weekend Update for a little while to see what it is that Michael Che thinks about Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Musk offered to buy Twitter for over $40 billion so he can loosen its free speech rules. That's how badly white guys want to use the N-word.
Yeah. No word should be off limits. None of them.
That's how badly white guys want to go. And that's not just everything that he had to say about that, but I wanted to get the take off of that right away and just see what it is you had to say about that. Let's keep going.
My take is no word should be off limits. That's my take.
I don't. Honestly, I don't understand why Elon even wants to own Twitter. It used to be something that seemed important and even fun, and now you look at it and it's confusing and depressing. It's the Giuliani of apps. And come on, Elon built electric cars. He's going to Mars. Why is he even involving himself with Twitter? It would be like if the Prince of England gave it all up just to marry an actor from Suits. Plus, I gotta say, Twitter's not even profitable anymore. It just feels like a bad business decision. And I say that as someone who bought a Staten Island ferry with Pete.
Thoughts?
I mean, they're trying to make jokes, I think. But SNL, honestly, really has never been that funny. Even people say, oh, it hasn't been funny in years. I even think back then it wasn't that funny. They always have their moments every season, but it's not consistent. It's not consistent at all. And I don't think it ever has. Maybe their first few seasons was consistently funny. It hasn't been that way.
I was going to say, I have seen SNL jokes that I have fallen off my chair laughing at. Just not recently.
They're few and far between, though.
Yeah.
Few and far between, for sure.
I have seen a few recently. It's not the way that it used to be. It is definitely not the way that it used to be. And the loss of Norm Macdonald is a part of that, too, because that guy did not give one single fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy was like Godfrey. He said what
cast.
came to his head.
It just depends on the cast. And right now, they just don't have a great cast. They might get it again. Who knows? And they need to stop being so one-sided. They used to make fun of everyone. And ever since they stopped doing that, it just hasn't been that funny anymore.
Well, and I didn't go back to that particular sketch. They were going hard into Joe and Kamala. But, we're on a different topic right now, and we are a little bit up on the clock after all the technical difficulties. So there was one more that I wanted.
Can you believe both of our computers went down in one episode? That's insane.
Within 5 minutes of each other.
One to remember, people. This is one for the record books.
All right, one more on the Elon thing, and this is one of the reactions that came out of this. And I wanted to get your take off of this. Now, there is a GoFundMe involved, but the GoFundMe has been taken down because I'm willing to bet that was highly, highly against GoFundMe's terms of service. But David Levitt tweets out, and he is soon going to be at PAX East, apparently, and says, if Elon Musk successfully purchases Twitter, it would result in World War III and the destruction of our planet. Levitt goes on and says, Elon Musk must be stopped. Help me buy Twitter. I just need $43 billion, click to donate, and an actual, at one point, live GoFundMe link. Like, I clicked on it on Contemporary, and it was live. There was a GoFundMe there. How much money
do they have?
$150.
Oh, whatever.
But if you open it now, campaign not found.
Womp womp.
Because I got to imagine that even as woke to hell as GoFundMe is, I got to think that stepped on a few toes too. I got to think.
Honestly, I kind of commend that guy for going for it, whoever he is. That's pretty funny, no matter who you are. Props where props are due.
Let's talk a bit about what happened with guns this week, because I think that's going to be the next big thing that we start to talk about as we go into the campaign season, which we'll be talking about that a little bit later on here. What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Grand Rapids, or do you want to start with Brooklyn?
Well, let's start with Brooklyn, because that happened first.
Okay.
I think, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
So, to read from NBC4 New York, at least 10 Brooklyn subway riders were shot Tuesday by a man wearing a gas mask and a green construction vest. And this actually was happening while I was on Contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
Quest Fanning happened to not take the subway that day. Otherwise, I think he would have been just about there when that happened.
Yeah, that's what he was telling me, is that's how he gets into the city. So,
who tossed 2 smoke canisters into the train car to distract the rush of the crowd before opening fire, officials said. The, at the time, unidentified gunman was in the rear corner of the second train car. In the moments leading up to the attack, police said in an evening press conference as it rolled under the 36th Street and 4th Avenue station in Sunset Park around 8:30 a.m., the man opened 2 smoke canisters and took out a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. I have so many questions about this story. I don't even know where to begin. I have so many questions about this.
I can answer all of your questions in just a couple of sentences.
What's that?
This is all an op. That man is being framed.
Is he being framed? That's my big question. Is he actually being framed?
I think so.
Because
I think they just pulled him out of a hat. I think they just pulled him out of a hat. I mean, that's what they told you he did.
That's what they said.
Well, that is what they would say, isn't it?
The suspect, and now the arrested suspect at this, was 62-year-old Frank James. He is of Pennsylvania originally. He has ties to Wisconsin. Waukesha, oddly enough.
Interesting.
He's got ties to Pennsylvania, and he does have ties to New York. He is a very well-known black supremacist gentleman.
Mm-hmm. He's on a list somewhere.
He's on a lot of lists somewhere right now because, I mean, that was one of the first things that came out of this was...
Before all this, he was on these lists.
And Andy Ngo went right down through his Twitter feed and showed us what exactly it was that he was.
Yep.
And some of the things that had to go with that.
We actually, on Steven's stream, we were watching his YouTube videos when it got taken down. When they scrubbed his YouTube, we were in the middle of watching his videos and it got scrubbed live on air. So yeah, we watched probably a good 20 minutes of this guy's YouTube videos. He was definitely on lists. I don't know if they had other stuff on him and they asked him to be the patsy for this one, but I really don't think he was the guy in the subway doing this.
Well, yeah, I mean,
just magically the cameras were down. The cameras happened to be down, just like they happened to be down when Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Was it the same closed caption company that was taking care of the maintenance on these cameras? I mean, it's the same city. Like, it just magically the cameras are down. It's ridiculous. Have you seen any cell phone video of it actually happening or just the aftermath? Because I've only seen the aftermath. I haven't seen any cell phone video of it actually happening. If somebody was on a train, like putting off explosives and shooting, you think nobody pulled out their camera and took video of it? Not a single soul on the whole subway in New York. It's insane. Well, this whole story is very fishy.
And there have been other aspects of this too. I know one of the initial reports was they were talking about a guy who was like 5'5" and 120 pounds was the one that was up doing the shooting. The gas canisters is what bothers me off of this because, you know, the guy knew he was going to be throwing gas because he had a gas mask on. But usually if you're trying to make especially a political statement of black supremacy, that black skin, that ebony skin is out there loud and proud as you go in and do the terror attack.
Oh, no, he was covered up.
He was trying to conceal his entire identity off of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You can't tell who that is under that mask. You can't tell who it is. If I had to bet money on it, I would bet that it wasn't this guy. I don't think we'll ever find out, but I just don't think it happened like they're saying it happened. It didn't. At the very least, it did not happen the way they're saying it happened.
This guy, and I mean, this story is actually almost out of the news cycle at this point, which is incredible because
it did its job, didn't it?
Yeah, it dominated everything for a couple days. This was one of the more interesting videos that I got out of the feed, and Joe did a massive thread on this, and this was one of the more interesting stops because Andy took a video piece from the channel, which is now deleted. We can't go to it anymore, but he was smart enough to embed the video to this and showing how James, which, by the way, he used to be known as Frank Whitaker. That was the other question that I had about that. Somehow in the midst of all this, his last name changed.
Yeah. It's very fishy, Ed. Very fishy.
But let's listen to what he had to say about our new Supreme Court justice.
I had no idea with that African name that she would be married to a white man. One of my subscribers brought that to my attention. Yeah. Our black sister Supreme Court Justice, power to the people, is married to a fucking white man. You see this fucking picture? I don't believe this shit. Oh, God. Wait a minute. This is the motherfucker right there. There he is. Right. White man. Black sister. KTZed, motherfucker name.
He doesn't even know our name. Although he's closer than Midget B.
I didn't know her name for a really long time either. So, I can't blame this guy at all.
He's closer than Midget B was the first time I heard him. He was in a voice chat one day and said it out loud and said, Jumanji Brown Jackson.
I mean, it sounds the same.
That sounds like something a Midget B would say, right?
Yeah. I don't think this guy did this. And I think the reason that this all happened is because the lieutenant governor of New York had a big scandal the day before this happened, and the ghost gun thing happened right at the same time as this. This is all an op. Everything's an op. Everything. Name me one thing that's not an op. This is definitely an op.
This program isn't an op.
Are we? Yeah, no, it is an op. It absolutely is. It's an op.
Is there something you need to tell me?
No, but we're trying to persuade people to our side. So yeah, it is. Absolutely.
But this was the bizarre part of this because yes, according to the CNN here, suspect in Brooklyn subway train shooting called in the tip that led to his arrest, sources say. So it looks like, according to the article, the day after all this happened, he saw that he was wanted on the news and he called the Brooklyn Police Department while he was on, or the NYPD rather, while he was in a McDonald's and said, hey, I see myself as wanted here. I'm over at this McDonald's. Come and pick me up. And then he was like a block away and a security camera installer pointed him out to the police.
They want us to believe that this dude shot up a subway, set off smoke bombs, whatever else he did.
Didn't kill anybody.
Not for lack of trying, but and then just went and to two different restaurants, had breakfast and lunch, and then just saw himself on the news and called and be like, "Are you guys looking for me?" Like, that's insane. The whole story is just freaking psycho. It didn't happen. There's no way. I'm sure if he actually did call, if they produce a tape or whatever where he called, it's because he didn't know why he was thinking to himself, well, I obviously didn't do this. I'm going to just go explain myself and they'll know that I didn't do this. And then all of a sudden he's getting framed for all this shit. I got to stop swearing. I'm sorry. You get me all worked up with these kind of stories, Ed.
Well, there's a little bit more that goes along with this because also in Grand Rapids this week, and we are going to, by the way, if you've got kids in here, be advised that there's going to be some graphic video going on with this because we're going to watch some of the video that goes with this. But
and apparently graphic language too from your co-host.
On April 11th, video footage was released from an April 4th incident that was not talked about in the media, in which Grand Rapids police, during a traffic stop, wound up shooting and killing a man after a small scuffle. And I don't know, you and I have debated this a little bit off air already. I've debated this with Seawall. But I looked at this shooting and I said, there's no way this was justified the way that it was.
Really?
I am 50-50 on whether it could be or not, but my big thing was, and basically my decision hinged on the cell phone video where I can't quite tell what's going on in the right hand. The officer's left hand, the suspect's right hand. If I could see the taser in that video and see where it was pointed, I could say that more obviously, but even still, even if taser was pointed up and everything, it is the worst possible shot to have somebody semi-immobilized and then point blank blow his lungs out the front of his fucking chest.
I 100%
From the back.
with you.
From the back.
100%. Well,
Also,
let's watch the thing and then we'll go over it because.
Okay, I've got 2 angles for this, so fuck, I might have to go back and get the other one because you're ad blocker. But let's watch the first one first while I see if I can't figure out where I can get the other one from.
All right.
Might have to slip into the Discord for a moment. Actually, let me make sure I get that in the correct window before I do that. All right, so we are going to watch the body cam footage first, which cuts off in the midst of things, which of course is completely regular, while I go see if I can find the other angle.
Okay.
No volume at the beginning.
Usually all body cams are like that. It doesn't record the first 30 seconds.
Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car! Stay in the car! Get in the car! Dude, I'm stopping you. Do you have a license? Do you have a license?
For what?
I'm stopping you. Do you have a license?
What that?
Do you have a driver's license? Do you speak English?
Yes.
Can I see your license?
What do you want?
The plate doesn't belong on this car. Do you have a license or no? Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Where is it at?
It's in the car.
Get it for me.
What do you want?
The plate does not belong on this car.
Amen. Grab me my lighter right there. Right there.
No, no, no. Stop. Stop. Put your hands right in. Stop. 1915. You got one running. Northbound. Stop. Stop.
Okay. Damn.
Stop. Stop.
Okay.
Get your hands behind your back.
Okay.
Hands behind your back.
Okay.
Get your hands behind your back.
Okay.
1950. Start with more cars.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop resisting.
I'm gonna do it to him.
Now, I want to say right off on that, if the shot would have occurred in this moment, I would have felt more apt to say that justified. Standing, facing assailant's hand on the armament.
Okay.
That's what I have to say off of that. Right here, I would have said justified shot, 100%.
Let go of the taser.
What's the problem?
Let go of the taser.
All right, and that is where it stops off there. Obviously, the body cam footage did not show the shot. Any more to add before we go into the other video?
No, because the other video shows where it is justified, so we should watch that one.
That's that's actually, you and I must have seen a completely different video, because when I see the other video, that's what throws it more in a gray area for me.
Really?
Yes. Let's have a look.
Let go of the taser!
No, he ain't grab no taser. I see that.
Let go of the taser!
You can see it stretched out behind him, and both hands are on that taser the whole time. Right there.
Let me back that up.
Drop taser!
And see, all I can see is a shadow there. I can't see what's going on with that. And no, both hands are not on. Because his other hand is balancing himself out.
I think he's on his shoulder and his hand's on the taser. But to be fair, I've watched breakdowns of this where they're zoomed in on that and things like that.
Well, that's, when I first watched this at the beginning too, that was one of the things I said is, okay, can we resurrect John Madden and bring him to life, and get the super zoom in and the yellow pen and.
Yeah, well, I've watched breakdowns of it, and yeah, that's what you see is his hand trying to take that taser, and the tasers that the police have, even though it's already gone off once, has two shots and can work as like you can stun people with it too, without any of the wires left in it. So, this cop is alone. He has lethal force on him. So if that man gets that taser and tases this cop, now this man has access to his gun. It's very reminiscent of that shooting that happened here in Atlanta with the taser.
See, that's because the guy is, for the most part, immobilized.
Look at the way his arm was. It was bent up underneath him with his arm. I don't know if you can see my arm. With his arm like this. He's up on his shoulder like this, and his hand is on the cop. The cop is coming around this way with the taser, and this guy's right arm has the taser like that. And he's up on his elbow.
I don't know. I can't call that shot justified. Not at the point blank at the angle that they were at. But that's going to be something that is going to be debated to death. And I don't think that you and I are going to move off of this. The more important part to this for me is not necessarily what happened here, because Grand Rapids Police Department and their internal affairs are going to investigate this probably the same way the YouTube community has at this point.
Yeah.
I am 50-50 on this. I am not going to 100% say unjustified. I'm going to say I'm willing to hear both sides off of this point. The problem that I have, the biggest problem that I have with this particular incident, as we're seeing it and as we go right now, is the absolute lack of media coverage off of this. And the fact that for something that there is a question about, like when we saw the St. Jacob shot, it was fairly well known at that point that he was either going to, like he'd already been tased and he was on something. Like, he could still get up and do something. He had the ability, and he was reaching for something in the car. A shot that was more easily able to be said was justified, and 42 minutes after he was loaded into the ambulance, the first Molotov flew, and people were already coming from all over the country off of this. If you tried to find this the day after the footage got shown, all you would ever see was something local. One story from the Blaze, and everything else that was local to the Grand Rapids Metro. M Live, ABC 23, NBC 13, and that's it. Yeah. CNN didn't touch this. MSDNC didn't touch this. Fox didn't touch this.
I think because it's justified. Or they've been given marching orders from whoever's in charge, who knows, that they don't want any more riots. They don't want riots.
It's justified. Right, the St. Jacob one was justified, and everybody knew that at the time that video came out.
Upon pondering it a little bit more, 5 more seconds, I think it's because they don't want riots right now. And if they would have covered it, there would have been more than there's been protests or whatever. There's been some eggs thrown, whatever. But it's not It's not another Kenosha right now. It's not another, what happened in the whole summer of 2020, the Wendy's thing that happened here, that's not happening right now.
And that's
all justified shootings, by the way.
Yeah. A little bit of a question about the Rayshard Brooks one, but again, we're sitting in a situation.
It's a taser? Is it because that's a similar situation here, and you're not sure about this one? So is it because it's a taser? Is that why you're not sure?
Well, the Rayshard Brooks one, I don't think the cops needed to be called to that one to begin with.
The guy was wasted driving a car. Why wouldn't the cops not show up?
Well, he was stopped when they showed up.
But the business called if he was on the business's property, and the business called the cops on them. Why would the cops not show up?
I don't think the cops should have been called on that one. I think they should have just let the guy sleep the fuck off in the parking lot.
But he wasn't just in the parking lot. He was blocking the drive-through lane. That's why he was called on, because he was blocking the drive-through lane.
Did they not have him out by the time they called? I was to the understanding that they had him out of the drive-through lane by the time the cops were called.
No, he was in the drive-through lane. They called the cops, and then he moved into the parking spot. But the cops were already on their way there, and he was wasted, driving drunk. I drive on these streets. I don't want this guy driving. I want the cops there to arrest him. Or get him off the street at least. Maybe not arrest him, but make sure he's not driving his car, or I'm driving my car, or my nieces and nephews are driving their car.
Regardless, again, the big story for me on this is it's the non-story. It's the fact that, again, like I said, there's been no coverage off of this, and like you said, it's the riots. I tweeted back and forth with somebody today, telling the woman that, hey, you got played. Somebody pointed out the fact that, hey, we just saw a unjustified police shooting just this week, and I said, yeah, and what's the media doing for it? What is the media doing to try to help your struggle right now? Nothing.
Absolutely.
Because
nothing.
if you go back out and riot right now, you're going to cause detriment to them.
Exactly.
So there is that. But with that, on top of this, there's one more going on here. Well, three more that I want to talk to. All three of them are on the Blaze. So they did a nice little summary of all three of the shootings here, because over this weekend there were 3 shootings. 2 on Saturday, 1 on early Sunday morning, 2 in South Carolina, 1 in Pennsylvania. So reading from the Blaze here, 3 Easter weekend mass shootings leave 31 people wounded, only 1 suspect arrested, and he was released on a $25,000 bond. Now, a short dig into the one that was arrested and released. As of right now, and this may change, this is a developing story right now, he is only in on a weapons charge. They don't know if he was the shooter at this point.
Okay.
He
when
might
I
have
first
been.
read
They
this,
don't know.
I thought he was the shooter and he was out already. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. It's like that school shooting in Texas.
No.
If he's
He
not
might-
the shooter, that's fine with me.
He might still be, but there's not enough evidence to support the fact that he is yet. So
Okay.
that's a developing story that might still happen here, but that is that's the South Carolina mall shooting. So let's look at this. The first one was at an Airbnb house party in Pittsburgh. Roughly 200 people, which the vast majority were younger than age 18, had packed themselves into a short-term rental home for a raucous house party Saturday night. Then around 12:30 a.m. on Sunday, at least 50 gunshots were fired into the home, plus several more rounds were fired outside the home. Police are investigating 8 different crime scenes. 10 partygoers were shot, several more were injured trying to jump out of windows, lacerations, broken bones, etc. 2 17-year-olds were pronounced dead at the scene. In all of these shootings, these were the only 2 people who had passed away. I don't know why they're telling me that my McAfee subscription has expired, because I've never had McAfee in my life.
My computer told me that a few minutes ago, too, when it shut down and restarted.
So we're going to be having a conversation with the Blaze after this. First responders brought several of the victims to a local hospital. Jesus fucking Christ. We won't be using the Blaze anymore at this point. First responders brought several of the victims to a local hospital. 2 17-year-olds were pronounced dead. Authorities have not announced any arrests at this point. But, you know, it's a certain neighborhood, a certain place in Philadelphia where things happened. This is not happening on any website other than The Blaze. Go away. All right, we are not reading from The Blaze anymore.
All right.
So the other ones, and I'll have to do the rest of this from memory, unfortunately. The other two shootings were a nightclub in South Carolina. Again, no arrests were made. It looks like somebody in the back started opened fire. According to witness reports, it appears that it was only one gunman. This was also into Saturday night into Sunday morning for an Easter bash. And then, as we mentioned, also the Saturday mall shooting, in which the suspect that was taken into custody is out on an ankle monitor on $25,000 bond. But also, at this point, not the person of interest in the shooting. It appears that this person was carrying a firearm for the means of self-defense, but doing so without a permit. But I'm also tending to believe that there's a $25,000 bond on him because they think that he might still be the shooter after all.
Yeah, well, I mean, so was Gage Grossman, and I think he should have been arrested for carrying an illegal gun too. So, I mean, what's amazing to me with all of these stories is that we're even talking about them, because shootings like this happen all the time and nobody ever talks about them. And more than just these 3 shootings happened in the United States over this weekend. I'm sure of it. I don't know of any of them off the top of my head, but I guarantee that more than these 3 shootings happened. And more people died from some more than these 3 shootings in some cases. I mean, I haven't checked in on Chicago lately, but I'm sure people died from shootings over the weekend, because it happens every weekend, and especially once the weather starts to get warm. So it's just interesting to me that all of a sudden the news is trying to cover this sort of stuff, you know?
At the same time as the ghost gun announcement.
Exactly. That's exactly what's happening.
All right. Let's check in with the live chat here now that we're caught up on 2 of these stories here. I don't know how much longer we're going to go off this because, again, we lost some time with the double disconnects and everything else, but we still have some stuff to go with. Obi Jaws is here. It says, is this an actual channel or just a funnel to the Discord? Why can't it be both? Come join the Discord. Enjoy some news and come join the Discord. Obi Jaws is greeting us from the UK, by the way.
Nice.
MK Ultra says, they had to ban me. I was too good. Quoting Trump Daddy. Randy says, Jeff Bezos is a DC villain. Because Elon Musk is a Marvel villain, apparently. Life to the Max apparently tangentially knows somebody who works at Twitter, but doubts that he cares like some of these people. Spartan 0000 Superior 1 says, the guy who can build cars and spaceships is going to make up facts. You know, the key building cars and spaceships is making up facts.
Yeah.
Randy says, Elon is likely more African than that black guy, talking about Michael Che.
Or at least he's been to Africa.
Life to the Max says, this white guy is pretending he doesn't want to say it. Life to the Max says, both computers. What evidence do you have that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton? I've got a Bruty and the Beast over on YouTube side. That's a new name. I haven't seen that one before.
That's PJ Patriot. That's his new show with Brew. Hi, PJ, if you're still here.
Bruty and the Beast says the media would never lie to us. Trump peed on prostitutes and Brian Stelter is straight. And Randy says, what I will say for sure is that cop is exhausted by the end of the struggle.
Yeah, and he was alone. He was completely alone with this guy.
Yeah,
He had outnumbered, because that guy could have jumped out of the passenger seat at any time.
He was too busy filming. And probably too stoned to do anything, too. Did you hear his voice on the video?
I would have been live streaming.
He ain't got no taser, man.
Yeah.
That dude was blazed out of his fucking mind.
Well, and also what they don't tell you in these stories is that the gentleman who unfortunately was killed had a a record, and they keep saying, oh, it was for an expired plate or something like that. No, it was the wrong plate on the car, and he has a record where he's been arrested before for something to do with stealing cars, and a violent record too. He had some sort of domestic against a pregnant lady. The same George Floyd sort of incident happened with this guy as well. So this is not an angel.
I understand that, but his ID had not been given over yet. The officer at the time did not know any of what you just said. Because the guy had said he didn't have ID. Yeah. The plate was wrong and the guy said he didn't have ID. As far as what happened with where he was, I think when I looked at some of the body cam footage, I think that the officer attendant, especially not knowing what this guy was, started the altercation a little bit faster than he should have. The guy, it looked like he was trying to stop him from going out to the other side of the car, which may have been, obviously, yes, could have been to go get a weapon, but also could have been to go get his ID. Because if you remember in the top of the video, he was saying, calling into the car, hey, can you get me my ID?
And then he ran away.
He got grabbed first, though. The cop grabbed before he started to run, and then he pushed off.
This guy was not cooperating at all from the start. He was told to get back into his car. He did not. He was not listening to orders. He was not listening to directions. This guy was not complying at all. It was a legal stop. And he grabbed an officer's weapon more than once. He had multiple chances to stop grabbing the officer's weapon, and he didn't do it.
Spartan says he had his pants down, so legally the officer tried to rape him.
I mean, that's probably why he couldn't run away fast enough, is because his pants were falling down to his ankles.
They were.
I don't mean to laugh at this guy because he died, and I feel like I'm not condoning, or I'm not celebrating, I should say, the fact that this man is dead. I'm not celebrating that at all. I'm just saying that this officer did not, I think it was justified. If I was on the jury, I would say it was justified.
You're not celebrating that this man died. Spend some more time in the Porch Boys Discord. You'll start celebrating it.
I'm trying not to publicly celebrate.
Let's talk about inflation for a little bit here. Let's get through some of the rest of what we have here, since we did have a bit of a rocky start here. But let's start here. Let's talk about inflation for a bit. Inflation has been renamed now to 8.5%. And this meme coming from Ryan the Millennial Dad says, when you get the 3% raise, but inflation is... Where's my red pen? I got to get my red pen for this meme. Inflation is 5.4%, 6.2%, 6.8%, 7%, 7.5%. Well, we got to cross it out again because 8.5% consumer inflation year over year for the month of March.
This is insane numbers right now. I mean, I can't remember a time in my lifetime that it's been this bad, this quick.
Yeah, I hadn't even been born yet the last time. 82 was the last time we were seeing that, and they say that if you fudge the numbers around, we're actually probably at, or to use the metric that they used back in the 80s, we're probably higher right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's insane right now. And they're blaming it all on Russia, which is laughable. Just freaking laughable.
It's interesting you say that because, Axios reported right away on that and said, this was before the numbers released, says, get ready for a nasty inflation report. Consumer prices index year over year percentage change. They were anticipating, they were guessing it was going to be 8.3, and they got 8.5.
Yeah. When did this come out?
This article was written April 11th.
Okay.
So 7 days ago today. So while we were on air last week, this is when this one was written.
Yeah. Insane.
So they were already trying to circle the wagons off of this.
I'm glad I gave myself a raise by getting a new job, because if I would have just stuck with the raise I got at the job I have now, I would be basically getting a pay cut right now. Just like the meme says. It's funny because it's true, because that's how it is for most Americans right now. You get a 3 or 5% raise.
I didn't even get a
inflation
raise.
is 8.5. Yeah. You need to be on that LinkedIn getting your resume spruced up. I have experience in that. Let me know if you need help.
Yeah, imagine having a resume.
I wasn't even looking for a job ad. I just updated my resume and threw it online, and I had headhunters hunting me. It was great. I love it.
Well, they're trying to, at this point, to come out here about the way the wholesale numbers also came out this week. Wholesale prices surged 11.2%. So for the products to get to the factories to be made into products that you can go buy for 8.5% more year over year, the price of those products went up 11.2 this year.
Exactly. Everything from dog food to gasoline, like everything in between. Anything that you need to survive has gone up since January 1st. Exorbitantly has gone up. And if you're not stocking up on stuff now, you're an idiot.
I just made a fresh batch of garlic, a fresh batch of canned meats, and a fresh batch of chicken broth this week.
I know you. I saw pictures. It looks delicious. I hope you bring me more goodies when you come and visit.
Yeah, you still got my pickled garlic, by the way. Or you might not anymore.
No, it's about I still have about half of it left.
I did not mean to leave that behind, but well, other people enjoy it.
I thought it was a gift, so we're just you're not going to get it back. Let's just put it that way. Mr. Zed likes it too much.
Is that your excuse to get Britt and Jessica Green to come over too?
Yeah, exactly. I've got Ed's garlic. Come on over, guys.
They have been doing things to try to mitigate this. This was my wheelhouse. So this actually really kind of pushed me over the edge when I read about this. But Biden has been announcing a waiver for E15 gas for summer and bid to lower prices. Now, when you're using a high ethanol gasoline, you are not supposed to be using that in the summer because it does burn hotter. It causes more of your oxides of nitrogen, the actual climate change gases, oxides of nitrogen, CO3. CO2, ironically, not as much.
Not to mention the fact that you get worse gas mileage, so you have to fill up faster. So it's not doing it. This does nothing for us.
And on top of that, not every vehicle can run E15.
Also, not every gas station has the capability to sell it because they can't sell it all year round usually. Yeah. So they don't even have the capability to do it. Yeah. He made this announcement like it's something. It's nothing. This is nothing.
Yeah, the announcement came out right away, and the first thing that was pointed out by Axios when they pointed this out was the fact that no vehicles older than 2000 can use this at all. You're not supposed to use this in any vehicle older than the year 2000. Mm-hmm. I looked into this a little bit more. You are not supposed to use this on any turbocharged vehicle, so most of your imports are denied off of this. Anything Ford with an EcoBoost, denied. You can't use it in that.
I don't even know if I could use this.
If you are not equipped for flex fuel, you are not supposed to use it, but you still can.
I have no idea if I could use this or not. Not a clue. I wouldn't, though, because why would you if you have to keep filling up faster? I want to fill up as little as possible.
Because I can use E85, which is a more ethanol blend off of that, but I get even worse gas mileage off E85 than just what you would get off E15. But yeah, you are not supposed to be using this at all if you are using any sort of, again, turbocharged vehicle, any sort of supercharged vehicle, or any vehicle that's not specifically designed to take flexible fuel. I can, but again, I would choose not to.
And here's what worries me is that people who are dumb like me, that don't know any better and don't know if their cars can take it or not, is going to see the lower price and put it in their car and then ruin their car or ruin their engine. And just because they don't know any better, because it's there.
And this, like you said, you're getting the worst gas mileage, you're not doing anything. The only time that I use E85 is if I pull something heavy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time I use E85 because I do get a little bit of a torque boost from using it because it burns a little bit hotter.
You're like speaking a different language to me right now. I have no idea.
Like I said, this is my wheelhouse. But no, unless I am actually planning to pull something heavy, I wouldn't use E15. Fuck that.
I'm gonna send you the exact like make and model of and year of my car, and you could tell me if I could use it or not.
I know the make, model, and year of your car, and you can't. Well,
I
let me
can't?
rephrase that. You're not supposed to. You're
Okay,
not
good.
supposed to.
I wasn't going to anyway.
But on top of that, this one with the Elon saga and the shooting saga and everything, I think they intended to slip this one out past where the environmental hawks could see this. But the Biden admin is also set to resume leasing for oil and gas drilling on federal lands. There is going to be a royalty fee on any of the gasoline or any of the oil that's found on them, payable to the federal government. There's already a royalty fee for this. It's 12.7%. They're looking to boost it to, I believe, 17.5%, according to this. It did say in this, so we read this morning. I'm sorry, 18.75% of the proceeds for oil on federal lands goes to the federal government. It is normally 12.5%. So not only are they going to open it up, they're going to...
about this is ridiculous.
Well, they've had the pressure. They're opening this back up because of pressure that they've been having from Republican lawmakers to renew and start new leases on federal land so they can get more access to oil. There is no word if they're going to be able to give out licenses for drilling after they found the oil. So that is another question I have. But yes, they are boosting the royalty fee for the federal government up to over 6%.
They cannot keep their grubby little paws out of. They're doing the right thing by opening the shit up, and they can't keep their grubby little hands out of the pass that. What did you say? Whatever percentage, pass that back to the people. Like, what are you doing, government? I mean, I do like roads, but it gets a little ridiculous.
I don't like roads. Roads suck, and so do cops.
I know. I am not back the bloom no matter who, by any means. And I'm not tax the shit out of everybody by any means. But there's a balance to these things, and we have to maintain the balance. And right now, that's not happening.
Did you see what happened with the I Did That stickers?
Yes.
A Pennsylvania man was caught at a Pennsylvania gas station. I got confused there because I saw Alabama. I'm like, am I reading this wrong? No, this actually was in Pennsylvania. A Pennsylvania man was caught and arrested for the crime of putting I Did That stickers up on the gas pumps. Which, technically, legally, I don't know if they should have arrested him for the way that they did, but they should have taken some action because that is technically vandalism. If it's unwelcome, it's trespass and vandalism. Still funny.
It was comical. Yeah.
But we got video of the arrest here, and well, he decided that he did not want to go quietly. And I'm sure that the leftoids will look at this and look at Loyola, the story we just talked about, and said, "Well, see, this is his white privilege here because he would have died if he was black."
He wasn't grabbing the cop's taser. He wasn't grabbing the taser.
Let's watch.
Be on video. Go ahead and bash my head. Just slam me in here. Let's see some blood, man. Let's see some blood. Get my piece out of the car. Oh. Why don't you bash my head, you door?
I gotta say, I think that guy was putting on a little bit of embellishment for the sake of the camera.
Yeah, I support these cops 100%. The tackle was great, 10 out of 10. Um, and obviously they were called to the business by the business. So, you know, but yeah, I love this guy too. It's so entertaining. It's just so entertaining. I love the clown pills. So I appreciate all involved in the story.
Well, and his lawyer is probably sitting back at home saying, what the fuck did you do? How can I argue this, man? You confessed to the crime right in the middle of the video.
If you run from the cops, you're going to get tackled. That's just what happens.
I'm not worried about the run from the cop. Well, from the lawyer's standpoint, I'm not worried about the run from the cop, but it's kind of hard to come out and say, no, Your Honor, this man has never seen these stickers in his life, when he clearly on the video from the cell phone says, I did that! I put that fucking sticker there!
Yep. No,
Kinda
but I
hard to
mean, it's
argue
a
that in court.
vandalism charge. He's gonna, he's gonna get, the couple weeks of, he's gonna get some community service and maybe a fine, and he's gonna have to go scrape stickers off of something somewhere. It's fine. Everybody will be fine. And we got a clown pill, so it all works out.
All right, let's get just a few more of these done before the end here. Well, I got one more on the economy before we look into some of the midterm stuff that's coming out of this. This one, well, I know that you like Amazon, so this is probably going to make you a little bit sad here. And that is that Amazon is adding a 5% fuel and inflation surcharge to seller fees for Prime shipping.
Yeah, I saw that.
So this is not going to affect anything that is coming from Amazon proper, coming directly from one of the warehouses that they have in stock. But third-party sellers who are still qualified for Prime will have a 5% fee added to all of their items because, well, fuel is ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame them for this at all. Fuel is ridiculous, and the shipping fees have gone up exorbitantly everywhere else. So why not with Amazon? If you go to try to send something UPS right now, it's ridiculous. FedEx, US Mail, even and every single business that I do, every vendor that I do business with in my work life has fuel service charges tagged on to stuff right now too. We have contracts with people for lawn maintenance or security guards or whatever it happens to be. They all have fuel surcharges right now. So it doesn't surprise me that Amazon's doing this.
You want to hear what the president had to say?
Not really, but I know you're going to make me listen to it, so go for it.
I forget. It's been a while since I've listened to this video, but I forget what it was that he was talking about. But he's talking about prosecution, except that's not what's on his mind, apparently. Let's listen.
Outfit in a country that is immune. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to being sued. Come on.
Come on, man.
Imagine if they were immune to prostitution.
He was thinking about Hunter's laptop. That's what happened.
That's what Kyle Becker said in the comment as well. And, of course, there's a Biden bot that's in there right away at the top of this. And he said prosecution.
No, he said prostitution. He was trying to say prosecution, but he said prostitution.
And not that prosecution would work in that sense anyway. That's a civil case.
Yeah, yeah. Not too dissimilar. Either way.
That's 80 million votes right there. 10 scoops ice cream. Most popular president in history.
Most popular.
Biden has issued, as we've talked about with shooting, he's come out and issued a ruling for ghost guns. To combat crime, Biden plans to bypass Congress to restrict Americans from building their own guns. Biden announced this week that he will, and I don't know why the hell I'm trying to read from the Blaze again, because they're just going to come back out and make a full-page ad, virus-style ad on me again. I don't know what the hell is going on with them, but the final rule bans business and manufacturing the most accessible ghost guns, such as unserialized, buy, build, shoot kits that individuals can buy online or at a store without a background check, and can readily assemble them into a working firearm in as little as 30 minutes with equipment they have at home, the White House announced in a news release. The rule clarifies that these kits qualify as firearms under the Gun Control Act, and the commercial manufacturer of such kits must therefore become licensed and include serial numbers. So, as far as purchase, now everyone that you purchase now will be required to have a serial number on it. If a reseller takes one of these firearms in on a sale or trade, they will be required to serialize them, which I believe was already the law. I believe that was already
it was just
a law.
for lowers, wasn't it?
Well, that's what they're talking about is lowers. But if you take the full gun in as well.
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I just know it's a bunch of bullshit that they're trying to make more laws for something called ghost guns that A, doesn't really exist, and B, is not an issue. That's not what's being used in these shootings. This is for people who are gun enthusiasts, who have a hobby. They're not shooting anybody with these guns. The guns that people are getting shot with in the inner cities, which is where the gun violence is coming from, are people who are buying or stealing guns and then scraping off the serial numbers. They're not unregistered or unserial numbered to start with.
Well, that's what they keep saying off of this. So, again, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. This is, number one, Thomas Massey brought up and gave us the point that this is something that, Congress is supposed to be taking care of anyway. That's the presidency bypassing everything.
Trump did the same shit with the bump stocks. This is just what every single president is going to take some step to take our rights away when it comes to the Second Amendment over and over and over again until nobody's got it. We're going to be freaking Australia over here. It's going to be England with cops on the streets with a baton and no gun. Give it 50 years.
Let's see. What else happened here? During an early... Let me see. California Democrat House member is facing scrutiny after he mocked the accent of Rep. Michelle Steele, a Korean-born congresswoman. Do we have a name?
Why do we have a Korean-born congresswoman? That's my first question.
Well, she's got dual citizenship like all those other people in Congress.
Why does anybody in Congress allowed to have dual citizenship? It's ridiculous.
Well, most of them are dual citizens with our greatest ally, so...
They should have to give up their other citizenship to be elected to a federal office. Any federal office. I don't care if it's the Parks Department.
Now, let's listen to what Jay Chen had to say about Michelle Steele. And also do keep in mind that he's doing this in Temple. I thought that was kind of funny.
I hope it's hilarious.
It's hard to hear.
So she just had another town hall the other day, and it's tough. We've transcribed it. You kind of need an interpreter to figure out exactly what she's saying. The more she speaks, the better for us.
Yeah. It could have been funnier. I wish he would have done the accent.
I understand that, but also one of the things that you have to keep in mind with that is, because he's a Democrat is why he got away with that. Because he is a Democrat is why he got away with that, mocking a Republican. If this would have been going the other way, this would have been
I would have heard about
page.
it before. Yeah, I would have heard about it before right now if it was the other way. But what if the roles were reversed?
Dianne Feinstein is saying that she has no plans to step down after fellow Dems report rapid mental decline. So Feinstein got under the microscope this week, and a lot of people have pointed out the fact that she's not doing too well upstairs.
She's almost dead.
Well, she is 88 years old, and she plans to go run for another term.
She's like a cockroach, I swear to God.
Several Democrats
she's not going to ever die. I wasn't comparing that came out. That may be interpreted wrongly. I just mean that it's hard. Not that I'm going to stop.
I was going to say you might not want to go any further because you're just making it worse.
I'm making it worse. I'm just gonna. You guys knew what I meant, right?
Feinstein has been under scrutiny, and several people, speaking on condition of anonymity, have come out to speak out and say that it is time for her to resign. They need to do something about her, and she should be removed from the State House in California, if necessary, if she can't be removed from her post at the ballot box. Of course, as mentioned, none of these people can be named because they are on a condition of anonymity to this, but maybe it's time. I don't know. She is starting to lose it a little bit.
I think a can of Raid would take care of her.
Okay, well, if we don't want to have a YouTube channel anymore.
If I get you another strike, I would feel really bad. So I'm gonna be nice now.
Well, some of this does come to the question of the age thing. Really, honestly, I was listening. I was listening to a Styx video. I was listening to a Styx video the other day where he was talking about Biden and the strategy that they're having possibly in 24. But I mean, we look at some of the ages in Congress, and I've been in a discussion talking about what happens where some of these people get a little bit older and are unable to cognitively do their jobs. Biden himself is a great example of this. Pelosi at 82 years old in Congress. McCain, we could arguably make a statement about McCain back when he was still alive, whether or not he should have been in the Senate for as long as he had. But I do have to wonder if they're setting up, especially if they're having this discussion here. Styx didn't mention this when he was talking about it, but I thought about it after I listened to his video because they had just had this discussion with Feinstein. If they are setting up for coming up campaign season of 24 for Biden to come out and say, hey man, I plan to run, but, it's just time to pass the torch along to other people. And I think that I'm too old for this and I don't represent the party anymore. Which would turn around and fuck Trump in the ass if he decided to run again, because he'll be the same age as Biden was when he took office if he runs again.
I think that he will run again and then immediately hand over the reins to Kamala. You
think?
I think so.
I think they're setting up for the age question so that they can plaster that all over the news media and say, well, what's too old to be president?
It doesn't matter how old you are, it's your cognitive ability, which obviously are two very different. Trump and Biden are in two very different categories as far as cognitive ability.
Hey, all I know is that I'm constantly covered by all this bad press covfefe. What's going on in your state, by the way?
My mom actually sent some articles about Stacey Abrams this week, and I meant to send them to you. I should have, because she's got the subscription to the local papers. And they're saying some interesting stuff about her in elections, and she's trying to have new laws passed and all sorts of other stuff.
Well, a judge has handed down a fairly stinging defeat for Stacey Abrams in her campaign for governor of Georgia, at least while she's going through the primaries now. It is important to note that Abrams, even though she is running unopposed, has not been named as the official nominee because your primary season is not over and people can still get into the race. And
because they're waiting for somebody better. They're like, please, somebody else run.
Hey, maybe you should run for governor of Georgia. On the Democrat
I would have
side.
to run as a Democrat. Yeah, I would have to run as a Democrat. I technically am a registered Democrat in Georgia, so.
You should run against Stacey Abrams just to see what happens.
I don't know. They'd pull up this show and it'd be all.
A campaign finance law passed by a Republican-controlled assembly last year. Critics say the law gives Republican Governor Brian Kemp a massive advantage because he can fundraise without limitations and that's still applied to Abrams' campaign. So, of course, they're going to come out and say it's not fair because Kemp can fundraise and get his massive donations because he is the incumbent.
Yep.
I guess if it was me, I would actually put the axe to that because his primary isn't over either, but that's not how Georgia law is written, and I don't vote in Georgia, so I have no say in that.
I think the Republicans are trying to unseat Kemp as well.
Well, from what I understand, he sucks. So.
Yeah, I mean he's not great. The only candidate I can remember right now is Burnt Jones, who's running for lieutenant governor, which I will definitely vote for just because his name is Burnt Jones.
But yes, the judgment that came down on Abrams is that she cannot raise unlimited funds until the primary season is over, until she is officially named as the Democratic candidate for governor, which does put a big hamper on her.
Yeah.
Even more so than her personality.
I mean, if we could just put a damper on her eating habits, the world would be a better place.
Well, we will see what happens with that. I guess I would like to see her take another defeat and then tell us for another 4 years that she rightfully is the governor of Georgia.
I would like to see her get braces and a weight loss and a band around her stomach or whatever.
I can't really speak to that right now. But as far as news goes, that's all that I have here. We'll see what happens with the midterms and what goes along with that. But I've got a couple of things that I think will pique your interest, one of which has shown up on Contemporary. That one's a little bit less bombastic, and one that I didn't put on Contemporary because it's hilarious. I wanted to sneak it in without you having ever seen it before. So let's talk about a little bit of stupidity for the day, and we'll head out. We'll check the last of the live chat and head out of here for the day. So we're going to start with the one that I have covered on Contemporary before, and this one, unfortunately, with all the trouble that we've been having with full page ads from the Blaze, also comes from the Blaze today. Been using them a lot today, and I think this will be the last time we do that.
I was gonna say, you better redo your tabs for Contemporary tomorrow.
Reading from the Blaze, Brian Stelter invites expert on media bias to slam Fox News and is stunned when the expert also criticizes CNN.
I have not seen this. You surprised me.
Carlos Garcia writes, CNN's media critic Brian Stelter was stunned when an expert brought on his network to discuss bias at Fox News also criticized CNN for left-wing bias. Stelter interviewed 2 researchers from the University of California at Berkeley who conducted a study where Fox News viewers were paid to watch CNN and their reactions were documented and analyzed. Let's listen to what it is that they had to say.
Is it possible to make Fox News viewers change their minds about key issues just by having them change the channel? That's what a new study suggests. It's titled The Manifold Effects of Partisan...
I want to put a reminder out that I'm older than that guy.
Insane, right? It's insane. This man is, and he sounds like this. His voice is higher than mine, so...
media on viewers' beliefs and attitudes. The researchers paid some Fox News fans to watch CNN for 30 days, and then they asked them some questions. The results are fascinating. So let's bring in David Brockman and Joshua Calla. They conducted the study in September of 2020, and it's just been published this week. Welcome to you both. Let's not waste any time. David, what did you find?
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. So what we did is we recruited a fairly large group of people who predominantly watched Fox News up until September 2020. And in September 2020, we paid them to watch CNN instead at the time at which they usually watch Fox News. And then afterwards, we asked them a variety of questions about what they knew about the world and their attitudes about current events and people like Donald Trump. That was during the Trump presidency, of course. And I think the real key finding here from our perspective is essentially that we find that partisan media is sort of hiding information from voters. And I think there's kind of an analogy to Putin's Russia, where right now Russians we know are not getting all the information about what's actually happening in Ukraine. And in the same way that we found during the Trump presidency, those watching Fox News weren't getting all the information about what was really happening, for example, with COVID and otherwise in the Trump administration, that then they started seeing on CNN and they said, oh, wow, I had no idea. I didn't know all this because Fox News wasn't telling me.
So, Josh, you all call this partisan coverage filtering. And basically, you're proving what we've sensed for a while, which is Fox viewers are in the dark about bad news for the GOP.
That's right. Fox and CNN cover different issues, and Fox News predominantly covers issues that make the GOP look good and make Democrats look bad. And on the flip side, CNN engages in this partisan coverage filtering as well that we find. For example, during this time, the Abraham Accords were signed, and these were the agreements where Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain signed a major peace agreement. And we see that Fox News covered this really major accomplishment about 15 times more than CNN did. So we established both networks are really engaging in this partisan coverage filtering. It's not about one side, it's about the media writ large.
I think you're engaging in some both sidesism there, Josh.
I wish they would have showed the look on his face when he was saying that.
I could see the look on his face when he was saying that, and he's trying to stay face off this, but it's like, what do you mean? It's our side too.
What? First of all, what's a substantial? He said there's a substantially large group. Like, how many is that? I'd like to know. And my second question is, how much would they have to pay you to watch CNN for a month straight? Like, it would have to be a large amount of money for me to only the only news I get is from CNN for a whole month. That's it. This is why I get all of my news from a handful of racists on the internet.
All right. And number 2, surprise stupidity for the day. This one comes to us from Microsoft MSN News. Kentucky man sues employer for throwing him a birthday party, and now they owe him $450,000.
What? How?
Well, we're going to find out. A Kentucky man took his employer to court after they threw him a birthday party he didn't want, and the jurors sided with him. Now his employer owes him $450,000. The verdict was handed down this week in Kenton County Circuit Court in northern Kentucky. The plaintiff, an employee at Gravity Diagnostics, sued his employer after he was fired following a birthday party they threw for him in August. According to court documents, the employee had notified the office manager that birthday parties trigger his anxiety disorder and that being the center of attention will cause him to have a panic attack. The employee asked the office manager days before his birthday not to arrange a birthday celebration, as they did for other employees. Then, on August 7th, the employee's birthday, the office arranged for a lunchtime birthday party in the lunchroom. According to the lawsuit, the employee said that he found out about the party as he was headed to his lunch break, which triggered a panic attack. The incident caused the employee to leave the office suddenly and spend his lunch break in his car. The employee sent a text message to the office manager asking why she failed to accommodate his request to not have a party. The next day, the employee was called into a meeting, to which he said he was confronted and criticized by the office manager about his reaction to the birthday party. The meeting then triggered another panic attack, and the employee asked the office manager to stop, according to the lawsuit.
First of all, the United States is way too litigious. However, if he lost his job over this, I could see where the money's coming from.
Right.
But he left. He excused himself from the situation. It should have been over at that point. Like, that should have been the end of it.
The article doesn't go into detail as to why he lost his job, except for, I'm sure if he was having a panic attack, he probably said a few things that he regretted to the office manager. But, I mean, he did do everything right.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Well, I have social anxiety in situations like this. I know I was messaging you at I was at my company Christmas party messaging you in a corner because I don't like to deal with those sort of situations. It just makes me uncomfortable and I prefer to remove myself from it. But as a grown adult, sometimes you have to do shit that you got to do, and you have to make an appearance and you have to smile, and then you can go sit in the corner and message your friend on Twitter. You know what I mean? But if he got fired for leaving the party, then I could see why he would file a lawsuit.
Right. No, it's definitely a wrongful termination, but
yeah, he should be able to excuse himself from a situation like that. If he's having a panic attack, he needs to leave.
Yeah. But it's just, and of course I call this surprise stupidity, because in what other universe do you open up a news article and says, man sues company after birthday party?
Like, I can see both sides of this, I guess. I don't know. This is more, I'm more conflicted about this than that shooting we watched earlier.
Well, I hope he enjoys his almost $500,000 off of this. I really do.
Yeah, he never has to have another birthday party for the rest of his life. If he invests correctly.
In total, the jury awarded the employee $450,000 in damages. Of that amount, $300,000 was for the emotional distress, while $150,000 was for lost wages. So, well, it looks like he did a really good job, at least.
Yeah, it sounds like he lost his job. Or it sounds like that's his compensation or whatever, you know.
Well, that's all that I have.
Insane stories tonight, Ed.
We got through.
Just really a crazy show tonight. It's been a record breaker tonight, I think.
We got through all the technical difficulties too.
Yeah. Hopefully that's this will be the worst of it. And then going forward it's just all like knock on wood, like smooth sailing from here on out.
Man, it was everything. All my screens were reorganized. They weren't in the right place. It was the buzzing, whatever the hell that was, the touch of the Ethernet cord, your computer.
Yeah. Just my screen went black, but I could still hear you. And I'm like, how am I going to do this show without being able to see anything? And then all of a sudden it was just gone. And I'm like, oh shit, it's gone.
All right, let's see what these guys are saying. Spartan says he had his pants down, so legally the officer tried to rape him. Randy says the same argument could be used for his defense, though. The cop knew is that he had another vehicle's plates on his car, and he'd already fought him off. The cop had no idea what he was capable of.
True. Very true.
Randy says Biden is binge watching The Fall of the United States.
So sad.
You want to know something really weird about that Grand Rapids shooting? Just going back to that for just a second. If it wasn't for a musician from Michigan that I follow on Instagram, I would have never even known that happened. Ever.
I saw one of the cop channels that I follow covered it, either Popo Medic or Donut Operator or somebody covered it, and that's how I saw it originally. And that's the one that zoomed in or whatever.
Life to the Max says, wow, it's only been 4 months into this year.
Crazy.
And tax time is all over too now. Did you pay your taxes?
I filed my taxes and the IRS is jerking me around and I don't want to talk about it.
I want to send them a letter. Instead of sending in the tax return, I just want to send a letter that says taxation is theft. But
I usually try to make it so we don't owe or are owed it. Like I try to get it as close to zero as possible. And this year they owe us a bunch of money. And now they're asking for like other forms and they want me to fax them. Who the hell knows how to send a fax anymore? It's insane.
Let's see. Spartan says North Korean dual citizens only. Life to the Max says not like she's Rasputin, but maybe kind of. Then she also says, may she live 1,000 years.
Bite your tongue, Life to the Max.
Life to the Max also says, Burnt Jones is on fire. I was watching some survival show and was like, this guy sounds like someone gay. Brian Stelter.
Oh, he's a boomer.
Apparently one of the other guys sounds like midget. I have to go back and listen to the Brian Stelter one again. I don't know. I didn't think either one of them sounded just tired enough to be midget. I'm so tired of it all, man.
Tired.
Spartan says, anyone getting news from CNN or Fox is like getting your breakfast from the gas station toilet.
Very true.
Colorful. Life the Max says, Horo 10. Handful of racists on the Internet News Network.
That's a pretty good marketing idea.
And Spartan looked at the last word tonight and says 450,000 people do not get their pay after physical injury, while a good attorney can work miracles.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that's all.
We're not, after all the technical, the full plate that we had and all the technical difficulties, we're not that late.
I was hoping to maybe have 20 minutes earlier than where we're at right now, but I had first to get myself connected back to the internet again.
Yeah. And I talk a lot, so you know this.
All right. Well, with that, after everything else out of here, we are going to head out of here for the night. Thanks everybody who came by and chatted in the live chat, came by and hung out with us, and stayed with us to the end through all the difficulties that we're having here. We'll be back here. I'll be back here tomorrow morning for more contemporary. hopefully minus some of the technical issues. So come back and join me for that. And if you need to catch my guest, or not my guest, you're my co-host. You're not my guest anymore. I don't say that anymore. Wow, I really can't talk today. If you want to go catch up with my co-host, tell us where the next time you'll be on camera is.
Probably with you here next week, but you could always follow me on Twitter at KTZed and DM me. I'll tell you why we need to repeal the 19th.
I will say the 7th or the 16th right now first, but it's tax season, so of course I'm going to talk about the 16th Amendment. And if you could just catching us up now, couldn't catch us live, or just catching us at the end. If you want to go back, check us out on demand. As soon as the video processes on YouTube, you can catch us there. You can catch us on Rumble. We're over there. BitChutes. Our replays go to BitChute.com. And yes, starting up this week, as soon as the video processes, I'll get it scrubbed back out to audio, and we are going out to Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify. All the audio platforms are going to be joining just for EZR Redemption. We're not going to do them for contemporary just yet, so come back and join us for that. Take us on the go. Take us anywhere. Check back, listen to the audio, figure out what we did wrong and why the Ethernet cords sometimes get disconnected. And with that, we're going to head out of here for the day. Thanks, everybody, again. And as I always say, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. KTZed, lead everybody out of here with some last words.
Have a great week, everybody. Bye.
Take care.